I know many of you out there and many of your clients are seeing those high home prices and rates and thinking maybe renting is the way to go for now. But let me tell you why that might be a riskier move for the long term, especially with what's brewing over at the Department of Justice. So the Department of Justice, along with attorney generals from 8 states, just filed a big antitrust lawsuit against my favorite corporate whipping boy, RealPage, a company based right here in Richardson, Texas. Now, I've talked about these guys many times previously on the podcast, but if you haven't heard, let me get you up to speed. So RealPage is being accused of running a, quote, unlawful scheme to reduce competition among landlords and basically monopolizing the market for commercial revenue management software. And this lawsuit isn't just some minor slap on the wrist. This comes after a nearly 2-year investigation into how RealPage does business. Now, why should you or your clients care? Well, the lawsuit claims that RealPage's software uses private, sensitive data shared by competing landlords to recommend rent prices and lease terms. That might sound like a fancy way of saying, quote, market analysis, but what it actually amounts to is illegal price collusion. Essentially, it lines up rental prices across landlords who would otherwise be competing against each other, driving those prices up. And this is at the very heart of what antitrust means, unlike what happened to NAR. But I digress. Now, here's why it matters. RealPage controls about 80% of the market for commercial revenue management software for multifamily dwellings. That's right, 80%. The Department of Justice is saying that RealPage is essentially a monopoly in this space, and they're comparing the tactics to old school price fixing method. The difference is that they're doing it with modern algorithms that align rents among competitors. It's kind of like price fixing for the digital age, and it is a new battleground for antitrust enforcement. So what does this mean for renters? Well, when landlords use RealPage's software, they're entering a, quote, self-reinforcing feedback loop. You see, landlords share their data to get price recommendations, and these recommendations are based on competitors' sensitive data. And this is a cycle that keeps prices high and makes it tough for other landlords to offer competitive, lower pricing. So who ultimately gets hurt in all of this? It's renters, plain and simple. You see, RealPage's software is designed to maximize profits by suggesting the highest possible rent based on data from other landlords. It encourages landlords to keep prices as high as possible, even when market conditions might suggest a need for lower rents. And in some cases, it might even reduce the amount of rental stock available if landlords see more profit in holding those units out for higher prices. So they'll literally keep units empty and not rent them out in order to keep the rental prices higher for the units available. And this isn't just a sit it and forget it type of algorithm at work. There are literally human enforcers behind the scenes making monthly calls to ensure landlords stick to the plan, applying pressure to follow those sky-high price recommendations. The system even comes with features like auto accept for high prices and sold out mode to keep rents high, even when demand isn't there. It's a pretty sophisticated setup that manages to enforce price collusion without the landlords ever needing to get into a room and shake hands on it. So the takeaway here is simple. Renting might seem like a good short-term option when you see high prices and high interest rates, but with practices like these driving rents up, it might not be a long-term solution the way you think it is. And if the Department of Justice has anything to say about it, we might see some changes coming down the line. But for now, beware. You see, the biggest line item in your home budget is the cost of your dwelling. And to think that big corporate landlords won't just find a way around this lawsuit, even if they lose, well, that's just naive. Renting gives control of your home expense to your landlord. And the house doesn't always win, but in this case, the landlord sure do.